Right. We are back. We are back again with a star or delta panel. So, from the last videos, we have talked about delay on timer and how it operates. So, from in this lesson, we will learn about the panel wiring of star or delta panel and its operation in the control circuit. So, from the previous circuits. Uh, uh, Forward and reverse circuit, remember we had the interlocks, and I said I'll show you the component of the interlocks or auxiliary contacts of the contactor. So this is the component that must be inserted in front of the contactor, like this. So this contactor, it contacts with this contactor. So which means we'll call this the contact of a contactor, which means all the interlocks or the auxiliary contact of the contactor will be connected in this component here. So from this component, the first 2 points is 53 normally open, and the bottom one is 54 normal open, which means the in point is 53 and the out point is 54, but from the normal open. The second point is 61 normally closed, and the out point is 62 normally closed. Third point 71 normally closed, out point 72 normally closed. The last point from the in point is 83 normally open, and the last point is 84 normally open, which means the first and the last points are our normally opens, and the middle points are our closed contacts. Right. So from a star delta panel control circuit, it will be supplied with a single phase supply voltage or a three-phase supply voltage. As you can see, I said L3 and neutral or L1, which means single phase it will be L3 and neutral, and three phase it will be L3 and live 1. But remember, from our delay on timer, we've been directed that it used 320 volts, and 320 volts, it is a single phase power supply, which means we will use L3 and neutral. Right. So from the star delta panel in the control circuit, I'll name the components that are there and also the contacts that are also there. Right. From here we have the 1M circuit breaker, which is a single circuit breaker. And from here we have overload relay normally closed, and normally closed from overload relay is 95 and 96. And then emergency stop, we have the emergency stop normally closed, stop button normally closed, we have the start button, and we have the contact of the motor, and we have coil of the motor, and we have contact of the motor normally open, and we have auxiliary contact of timer, T for timer, and we have interlock of delta, we have interlock of star, and we have coil of star A1 and A2, and we have coil of delta A1 and A2, and from the bottom we have a coil of star or delta on delay timer. So from the delay on timer, when it changes to star or delta on delay timer, it will from here it will be replaced, and it will be written star or delta on delay timer, but they are used the same because they are both delay on timers. Right. So from here we have the neutral bar, as we have used a single phase live and neutral, which means we will need the neutral bar. But if we have used L1, which is live one, we were gonna replace the neutral bar with another 1 amp circuit breaker. Right. Right now I'll do the panel wiring. So from our supply voltage, live 3. So from our live, we'll go down into the in point of one circuit breaker, single pole, and then the out point will go to in point of overload relay close contact, which is 95, and then 96. The out point will go to emergency stop, and then remember from emergency stop is 1. From the in point is 1, out is 2, stop is 1, out is 2, and then open is 3, out is 4. Yes. So it will go to the in point, which is 1 of immediate stop. Out point number 2 will go to in point of stop button number 1. And then the out point number 2 will go to in point of start button number 3. And then number 4, the out point will go to A1 of the coil. And then the A2, it will be our neutral, and it will go straight to neutral bar. So under the start button, remember always when there's a start button, there must also be we must also have the retainer of the contactor. So from the contactor, normally open 13 and 14. 13 and 14, remember from the last 2 points, 13 and 14. And then we'll bridge its live to the in point, which is number 13, and out point number 14 will bridge to the one that goes to the load, and the load is our coil. So which means now this connection, we'll call it the retainer. It retains the power supply from the live when the contact of the start button is open. So right now with this sketch, if you can see, it is our direct online circuit, the basic sketch. So from our neutral, we'll go to our supply. Right. So we will bridge our live here again, which will go to the in point of coil of the motor. So if this is the contactor of the motor, and it has its contact of a contactor, which means right now we have a normally open contact, and we will use our first points 53 and 54 normally open, which means here it will be 53 and here it will be 54. And the out point of a normally open contact of motor will go to in point of auxiliary contact. So auxiliary contact of timer. So from the auxiliary contact of timer, remember from the common we had 1, and normally closed is 4, and normally open 3. So that's how I've numbered my auxiliary contact of timer. So from the normally closed contact, which is 1 and 4, the out point of 4, it will go to the in point of interlock of delta. So if this is the contact of interlock delta, we will insert the contact of a contactor in it. So from the interlock of delta, it is a normally closed contact, and we'll go to the contact of a contactor from the delta contactor and use 61 and 62 because it's the first points of normally closed. So here it will be 61, 62. And the out point of normally closed contactor 62, it will go to the in point, which is A1 of the coil on top, A1, and A2 of the coil, it will be our neutral, A2 on top. Right, again, from the open contact, number 3, which is our point, it will go to the in point from the interlock of star. So if this is the contactor of a star, it will have its contact of a contactor, which means from our normal closed contact, it will use the first point, which is 61 and 62 also. 61 and 62. And the out point of normal closed star 62, it will go to in point of the coil, which is our A1 from the delta contactor, and then A2, it will be our neutral, right? So from our coil of the star or delta on delay timer, we will bridge its life from here all the way to the in point of A1 in the coil, which is number, remember our A1 is number 2, and then our A2 is number 10 from the relay component. So A2 will go to neutral also. So the reason why we have bridged this live wire to energize the coil of the timer is because of when we switch off the 1M circuit breaker, when the live comes here, it must be trapped first so that it cannot energize this coil. But this coil must be energized after this contact closes, and this contact will be closed when coil of the motor is energized. So right now, I'll do the operation and see how we do it. So we have set our time to 10 seconds in the on delay timer. Right. So from our live side, it will come here and be trapped because we have open contact in 1M circuit breaker. So I'll close it. When I close it, it means I switch it on and current will flow now and goes to a close contact of relay, close contact of overload relay, which means current will flow. Close contact of emergency stop, current will flow. Close contact of stop button, current will flow, and current will come here and finds open contact of start and be trapped, and then it will also be bridged here and goes down to the left and finds retainer of the motor normally open, which means current will be trapped. And then another way our life is bridged from here until to the interlock of the motor, which is normally open, and our current will be stopped here. So from our neutral side, neutral will go to neutral bar and all the way to A2 of coil of the motor, A2 of coil of star, A2 of coil of delta, A2 of coil of star or delta delay on timer. Right, so our current from our life is waiting for us to press that button so that these two contacts can be connected together to pass the current. So right now I'm pressing my start button. So my start button right now becomes closed, which means right now I'm holding my button inside. So which means our current will flow right now and goes to the coil of the motor, which means right now the coil of the motor, it has live A1 and neutral A2, and it will be energized. And the minute this coil of the motor is energized, it will affect its contacts or its auxiliary contacts, which means from here it will be closed, and then also this one, because of the contact of the motor, it will be closed. So right now I'm letting go of my stop button, and when I let go of my stop button, it will no longer be closed, it will be open. So when it's open, what will happen to our coil of the motor? Coil of the motor will still be energized, which means it's on, because of our retainer contact of the motor is closed, which means right now current will pass from here and all the way to the coil of the motor. So right now, let's check what happens when the interlock of the motor it is also closed. When the interlock of the motor, current will come from this side and it will pass here because we have a close contact. It will pass all the way to the auxiliary contact of the timer, and in the auxiliary contact of the timer, it won't pass in number 1 and 3 because it's a normal open contact. It will pass in 1 and 4 because it's normal closed, which means current will flow all the way to the interlock of delta, normally closed, which means current will pass, and then all the way to the coil of the star. So right now, our coil of the star has life and also has neutral, which means it will be energized and it will affect its interlock or contact, which means right now this contact will be open. Right now this one is open. So again, our current after this contact was closed, it will go down and it will energize the coil of the star delta delay on timer, which means it will be on, and then it will start counting to the time that we have set, which means it will count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I forgot to write on here. So from now, coil of the motors, coil of the star, coil of timer is energized, but not coil of delta. So after our delay on timer coil was energized, it will count to 10 and it will affect its auxiliary contacts of the type of time. So here it will become open and here it will become closed. You see? So when here it becomes open, here it becomes closed, which means right now my current from the live side will not go from this side because right now 1 and 4 we have normal open, which means current will not flow there. And if current is not flowing there, which means right now our coil of the star will not get live and it will be de-energized, which means it will be off. And when this coil of the star is off, it will affect its interlock, which is normally closed, to be which is normally open. Which is normally open. So right now it will be closed because the coil of the star is de-energized. So right now it will go back and be closed. So from our current here, it will flow to number 1 and 3 because we have close contact, and it will flow all the way to the interlock of the star and finds this with a close contact and pass all the way to the coil of delta, which means right now my coil of the delta will be on, and then when my coil of the delta is on, it will affect its contact or on interlock, and when it's normally closed, right now it will be normally open because the coil of the delta is energized. So right now the coil of the motor is energized, the coil of delta is energized, and the coil of timer is energized. So how the control circuit of star delta panel works is that a star, the coil of the star and the coil of the delta cannot be energized at the same time, but they must give each other time before the other coil is energized, which means from the start of the process, the motor will be energized, and when the motor is energized, we will affect star coil and timer oil to be energized, which means right now coil of the motor, coil of the star, coil of the timer is energized, and after 10 seconds coil of the star will be off and coil of the delta will be on, which means right now coil of the motor, coil of the delta, and coil of the timer is energized. So that's it about panel wiring of star delta panel in its operation, but in the control circuit. So remember to recommend our page, M. Solomon Enterprise or at MainMade 1983, so that also or more people can get this electrical skill to also get their trade test. So please follow our page, like and subscribe so that you can be alerted when we post another videos. Goodbye.